G'day world, Chris Hogan coming to you live from the Sunshine Coach. We're here at Marucci Golf Course, beautiful day outside. I'm here with Mike Black, one of the panellists for Script Innovation Breakfast that was held here this morning. Mike, how was the panel?
It's fun.
Yeah, cool. One word answers. Excellent. He's used them all up. No, you were on there with Steve Baxter, Ian Mason. I'm sorry, I actually forget the ladies' names.
So we had Elaine from the CEO of Jets, and we also had Shanna from marketing for Typify.
Thank you very much. So, any of those questions polarizing, or I guess you've seen them before? Any new insights on those questions that came through? There was obviously innovation, culture, there's plenty more, but...
I like a panel though when it's divided. I actually think it makes it a lot more fun and interesting, and so it was good to see the questions being passed from one panelist to another panelist without actually going back around the process again, and having conflicting opinions about certain things. In particular, like, the buzzword of innovation or what is an entrepreneur and things like that. I think they really did. And the gender diversity question, which always comes up, but it's good to actually see a healthy debate about that on a panel.
Yeah, and Steve Baxter's he openly admits that he's been very public and opinionated about the gender diversity issue, and did highlight that most leaders are young men that he sees as having, I guess, the most drive to be an entrepreneur, a successful entrepreneur, and that's just what he's seeing. It's not I guess, to cast judgment that's how it should be, but that's just what he's seeing. And both the women, both employees, so not entrepreneurs themselves. So and had worked for male entrepreneurs as well. So I guess I
think you'd be hard pressed to find someone with more get up and go and aggressive, all the characteristics that Steve was saying are typically young males. I think you'd be hard pressed to push any of those attributes past Elaine. I mean, she's definitely a powerhouse for sure.
Whether she's an entrepreneur or not, no, absolutely, she's an absolute powerhouse. That's right.
Yeah, and I think there's a consideration to that too, like the role of the entrepreneur. It's a nice word for people to feel that they've been associated with, but at the same time, there are entrepreneurial characteristics that you can employ in your role as a CEO, and you should be. I mean, if you're a CEO and you're not thinking of new ways to create new revenue, new ways to innovate on your product, new ways to actually meet market needs, then what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, what value are you bringing to your company aside from appeasing a board?
Yeah, which comes, I think the topic of Elaine is a very good one, because it comes back to the question about are entrepreneurs born or made, and she says that effectively she's become a better person in the workforce due to the fact that she has probably taken on the best attributes of the entrepreneurs that she's worked with, and regardless of their gender, they were very driven people, and now she is a very driven person. So, and also requires a very driven team. She highlighted that, and she doesn't take second best when employing people. So.
Yeah. I think it'd be quite scary to be facing am I good enough to work for Elaine? Like those kinds of questions. Yeah. She's very discerning.
We should run a competition. Are you good enough to work for Elaine?
Yeah. It should be a hashtag. I think there's an element to that too. And what I said to that point about whether they're made or born is around hunger. Like, is there something that really drives you? Is there something? How comfortable are you with the status quo? And if you're not comfortable with that, and you feel this strong burning desire to change that, then you've already got half the battle. Like, if you because you need to be so restless, so incredibly restless that it just bugs you enough.
Yeah, not for just one day.
Not for just one day. Absolutely. I obviously have a very different kind of business in the sense that I realize that I'm not very good for the long haul. I'm not a very patient person or anything else like that, but I'm restless. And so for me, it makes a lot of sense to do what I do, which is in the rapid prototyping, rapid hackathon, that sort of taking a stuck idea and making it unstuck very, very quickly, and never sort of committing to something more than 12 months, and finding a an avenue for that then to grow and flourish on its own regard. So by being able to sell the intellectual property or bringing in appropriate management team to be able to run that, instead of being the serial entrepreneur who starts and then never finishes something, you actually can build it up and then let other people take it sideways as a result, and leave it in the good hands of your successors. And I think that is actually a sensible way to work as well. If you feel like, well, I don't burn for anything hard enough to do it for 10 years, well, maybe you're in the other camp.
Yeah.
Because I certainly can't imagine doing the same thing for 10 years other than what I'm doing right now, which is not doing the same thing.
Yeah. No, and that's constantly evolving, constantly innovating as well. So we're doing a crazy hair comp here, Mike and I. But
mine does stand up pretty good. Like if you give it a bit of a
Mate, one of the actual great questions or great answers that I saw come out of today was, it was about how do you become a thought leader, and your answer was make sure you are a thought leader. And rather than think you are and go out and constantly, I guess, bash social media with to use a lot of Steve's vernacular, bullshit. Is it actually going to work in your favor if you aren't actually a thought leader and constantly go out there and sound your horn?
I think there's an element of actually, it was actually Steve that said that comment about the thought leader, but I did echo it which was you are a curator of stories. That is all you have. That's your currency in this world. And so if you need to have good enough stories to tell. You need to be constantly working on showing evidence of being that positive change that you're looking for, that thing that you're restless about, or whatever it may be. And so in that process, that is where the authenticity comes from, so that you can actually be a thought leader. You don't set out to become a thought leader. You become a thought leader because you got there by leading by thoughts. It's like it's a thing. It actually happens, right? Yeah. I don't know if I'm a thought leader, but I certainly know that I love collecting really cool stories about wild and crazy different things. Like whenever somebody tries to introduce me, it's like, hey, this is Mike, and Mike's cool. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, I don't know how to describe what he does, and that's okay, and I like that.
I liked your description. You like to jump out of the plane and build a parachute on the way down. That's what Mike does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although when I did go skydiving, I was well and truly attached to that parachute first.
Metaphorically speaking.
Metaphorically speaking, for sure.
Yeah, cool.
So, I mean, your business is entirely built on telling good stories and stories worth telling.
That's right.
That's all we're doing.
Not to steal anybody else's catchphrases, that's actually somebody else's, but we're about inspiring entrepreneurs, aspirational entrepreneurs. If you're aspirational, which I am, I know there's plenty of mentors older than me that are still aspirational entrepreneurs that love hearing these stories. So thanks very much for your time, Mike.
No, you're welcome.
We have you on pretty regularly, given that we're on the Sunshine Coast a lot and you are always here. So thanks very much for watching. We're on facebook.com/Beach City Life. We're also on YouTube and LinkedIn. Just search for Beach City. Cheers.